Yes, I am, and I plan to be with you for a long time.
I know that's right because we just can't get
Yes.
enough of you, Mr. Brown. So thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
being
Thank you
here,
so
and
much.
hearing your voice is always a privilege and a pleasure.
All right. Well, I thank you so much for your help and support and Needable and hosting and making it possible for me to be able to speak to everybody. Someone said I'm supposed to be in Athens, Georgia. Please email
Yeah.
me at lesbrown.com because somebody's head go roll tomorrow morning. Athens, Georgia. That's my
We
first time hearing about that. Please let me know about that. Please email me at yes at lesbrown.com, the sponsoring organization, so I can reach out to somebody because I don't miss engagements. So, but let me get into my presentation tonight. I want everybody to think about some goals and dreams that you'd like to achieve. And first of all, every opportunity that I get to be on this call, I'm going to affirm you. I'm going to validate you because you represent a small number. It's a small number of people that would take the time to carve out some time to hear something that can help them to live their dreams, to become a better person, to make a difference in their community, to be able to stretch themselves and to challenge themselves, to use all that God has placed in them. Most people are spectators. They spend the majority of their time watching entertainment, sporting events, television. That's what the majority of people do. Majority of people spend their time and their money on things that provide for them relief from their life, stress. They look for distractions. And so you're being on this call. Let me share with you, and I've been doing a lot of reflecting since I turned 70 on February the 17th, and as I'm walking in to this next level of living of my life on what I want to do and what I want to accomplish. And as I'm talking to my twin brother on a regular basis and reflecting on our lives and my other brothers and sisters that we were adopted together, it's interesting how people can be raised in the same household, same parents, and end up dramatically different. So you're choosing to do something positive. You're choosing to expose your mind to something that can stretch your mind and enhance your mind while the rest of the world is listening to a record. I was at a red light and a young man stopped at the red light and he had his music playing real loud and the song that was on was I'm going to have that bee get my money. That bee better get my money. Now, and you know the word. It didn't say bee, but you know the word. And the people behind me had to blow their horn because I had to pause for a moment. And I was just thinking that our kids are listening to that day in and day out. And we're in a time where there's no such thing as decency. But so you have to not only watch your language, but you have to watch the language that you expose your mind to. There's certain comedians I love them, they're talented. I just can't sit through the cursing. I can't do it. I love Chris Rock. He's a talented guy. I met him. He's an introvert, very reflective guy. Can't sit through his program. He's got to drop the F word too many times for me. Listen, that's not good for your mental and physical health. Do you hear me? There's some things that you can make funny and you never have to ever use profanity. But today, it's about how low can you go. It's today, how vulgar can you get. And today, these young people, they respect nobody, nothing, nothing. And so my heart goes out to parents who have children. These young kids today, what they're being exposed to. My God, my God, it's Set for yourself big goals and dreams. There's some power in pursuit of a dream. When you are pursuing a dream, you develop confidence, you develop skills, you develop new relationships, you develop resources that eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you if you live a life where you're pursuing goals outside of your comfort zone, where you're pursuing projects. See, we grow from people and projects. Look at the people in your life. Well, how many projects do you have in your life that you're working on to make a difference? I'm working on my legacy. I'm a great-great-grandfather. So I'm working on what will my mark be? How many more lives can I touch? How many more lives can I change before I check out? Let me share something with you. A lady went with a friend of hers whose father died. And her friend's father was a grumpy guy, mean-spirited. He had no friends. Nobody visited him. And when he died, she fulfilled his wishes. He wanted to be cremated. And she followed behind the hearse with her friend to take her father to be cremated. And she said she stood there as they first prayed for her father, and then they pushed him in. And they waited. They went and did a few things, and they came back. And they collected his ashes in an urn about a day or 2 days later. And he wanted his ashes to be thrown in the wind. And she said, as her friend threw her father's ashes in the wind, and the wind blew the ashes, she said what grabbed her and moved her so deeply was, as the ashes disappeared, it was as if her friend's father never existed. Because he didn't live a life of contribution. He didn't have any projects that he was working on that would make a difference. He didn't build relationships with people that could have helped him do some of the things that he was sent here to do. No one was there to witness the throwing of his ashes but his daughter and a stranger. Most people go through life like that. They die unlived lives. And I believe there's something in you that's causing you to hear my voice. Something in you that says, I want to live. See, it's one thing to survive, but what it takes to live and what it takes to survive is two different things. Most people in survival mode are caught up in weapons of mass distractions. So, my message to you, and you already know it, fill your head with words that can empower you. Spend several hours. I do it on a regular basis. Every day I have to spiritualize my thoughts. I have to listen to things. Why? Because you're going to take some hits. Think it not strange that you're going to face the fiery furnaces of this world. You're going to take some hits. Something's going to happen to you or someone you care about, and you need the mental resiliency to accommodate the things that will be coming your way. Well, that's nothing happened to me. Don't worry, just keep on living. Trust me. Trust me on this. Your time will come. Your name will be called. So isolate yourself. Take time every day. I call it God moments. Your time with God, that you won't read any text messages or emails or take any phone calls, but you just spend that time listening and reading and praying and meditating to fill yourself up, to build mental resiliency. Next thing, make it a point. to learn something. To learn something that will allow you to continue to grow, that will allow you to continue to stimulate your thinking, your imagination. Because we're here to do a work. There's a calling on your life and my life. And as we learn, as we grow and expand, you'll discover things you can do that you don't even realize right now. Most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they aim too low and hit. I did that for many years. I didn't think I can do what I'm doing. I'm flying around the world, people paying me, strangers, to come in and teach them how to be successful. I didn't think I could do this because I don't have a college education, because I was in special education all through school and labeled educable, mentally retarded. I didn't think I could do this. Listen to me. There are things you can do that you don't know, and you've got to challenge yourself. Well, I tried some things and they didn't work out. So what? You will fail your way to success. Walter P. Chrysler failed in the automobile industry 42 times, but my God, look what happened to 43. You will fail your way to success. And the other thing is, start watching people, observing them. People, see, I believe in energy. I believe in energy. There's some people that don't need to be in your space. There's some telephone calls you don't need to take. Some conversations that you don't need to expose yourself to because it will pollute your mind with ignorance. And so start being selective of who you give your time to. Ask the question, what value is this person bringing to me? Am I growing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually? Do they bring me peace? I call a friend of mine, Dwight Pleasure, one of my platinum speakers. He gives me a sense of peace. He's my spiritual brother. I love talking to him. John Garcia. There are certain people in my life that to hear their voice brings me a sense of peace and comfort. Certain people I talked to, I was with Alicia and Lorette today, two friends of mine who earn over $100,000 a month, and I struck a partnership with them. And those are my money-making partners. When I'm with them, the ideas are just flowing out of me. Flowing because of that kind of creative energy that I was in. Who's in your corner? Dr. Dennis Kimbrough out of Atlanta was right. He said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. I used to be Alicia's mentor. Now she is my mentor. I'm learning from her, and I'm proud of it. Here's what I want to say to you. This is your time. Make it a discipline. Dedicate yourself. Give yourself homework to work on your mind, to work on your health, to declutter your life, to clean your life up, to clean up your conversation, to start reading a minimum of 20 to 30 pages of something positive every day. A friend of mine, Mike Sims, he did something for a year, and he said it changed his life. He earned his first million at 26. And I said, well, how did you change your life? He said, man, for 1 year, I never turned on television. And I said, you didn't watch television? He says, no. I hadn't watched the news. I said, how'd you find out what was going on? He said, people told me. And I wasn't even interested. He said, I have enough problems of my own. Why should I watch other people's problems? He said, and it changed his life. As my health is stronger now than ever before, and part of my regimen, part of my prayers and my meditation and my exercise and my walking and meeting with my fitness coach, I don't watch television because it's not good for me mentally. It's too much dysfunctional stuff on there. I was in the airport and saw this girl that Chris Brown beat up or whatever, and that's the one that got that song out. Wow, such a pretty girl. It shows ignorance comes in all kind of packages, boy. Vulgarity, indecency, unbelievable. No sense of decency. Wow. Don't listen to it. Don't let your children listen to it. Don't entertain ignorance in the name of entertainment because it's hip. You got to restore respect and decency. Vulgarity and profanity is not good for your brain. When I train young men, I tell them to affirm an affirmation that when you use language that's degrading to women or to yourself, profanity is the strongest expression of a weak mind. Write that down. Put that up someplace, particularly in barbershops. Profanity is the strongest expression of a weak mind. There's some people, they have to get it from life. They have to get it from life. Don't waste your time. I told my sister, don't waste your time. Don't call me about no money. I don't bail out retarded people. Don't. I never. Don't throw good money after crazy behavior. That they know better.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You can't reward bad behavior, Lesson. What you just talked about, I mean, there was so much in tonight's call to convict every person that's listening to play a bigger game and to really leave a mark. And you've been an inspiration to me and all of the platinums with what we're creating. And one of the things that I do is work with young people and the language. Les, what you said is so true. I have to stop them and correct them so many times about the words that they are giving life to as they come out of their mouth. And I'm proud to say that, sometimes even the most interesting characters will pause and say, oh, sorry, miss, because they know I don't tolerate it in my space. And if more of us would just stand up and be examples and use the kind of behavior and language that we want them to model, it would give them more opportunity to self-correct and really be on a better path. But as you said, if they're not willing, if they're not in a space where they feel affirmed, when they understand that they don't have to use profanity to express their thoughts and feelings, then we're laying down on our job of uplifting and changing the generation that's here with us now.
But you know something? This is a different generation. See, you're not in my age category, but when I was coming along, my mother taught us to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. And if the neighbors saw you doing something, boy, you better stop. I'm going to tell Mamie on you. I was respectful of our neighbors, and they can correct me. But let me share something with you. These young people today, it's a different kind of animal. A different kind of animal. I was talking to 3 young girls. I went to speak at this school, and they had a break, a lunch break or something. And so I was crossing the street, and these 2 girls talking to another girl about how they're going to beat her behind, and they didn't say behind, and they're calling all kind of B's. And I said, you are little queens. Why don't you make a decision to clean up your conversation and be respectful of each other? You are our future. You are the future Michelle Obamas. And one of them said, why don't you kiss our boom?
What?
She said, why don't you kiss our, and you know what she said?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow.
My mouth dropped open. It took my breath. And I started laughing. And so one girl, a 4th girl, she just watched. She didn't say anything. She didn't observe. She said, why did you laugh? Weren't you insulted? I said, no. I said, I thought about something my mother had on her mirror when I was a kid. She said, oh, Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business. And these young girls, at some point in time, we don't know that I just dropped a seed. At some point in time, one of them might take root. And I'm just very glad that one didn't take a knife out or call their boyfriend up to jump on me. That's not uncommon. And I just say, God, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I spent 3 hours last night, 3.5 hours last night, thinking about what's next, the projects. Where should I go? Is anybody interested? I want to start a movement to save young men and young girls. I got a training for that. That one, change their mindset. 2, teach them how to become effective communicators. 3, teach them how to dress like a prospect and not a suspect. 4, teach them how to develop a relationship that's an asset to them and not a liability. And 5, teach them how to earn income over the internet. Even if they have a felony in their record, they can earn money and never have to go out and be rejected in the job market. But guess what? The majority, 99% of my engagements, I'm leaving the country. You know, they ask me, given the state of the people in your country who look like you, how do you have time for us? I was born and raised in Liberty City. They don't call me in Liberty City or Overtown in Miami to come there and speak or train. That's where I started. I was a state legislator in Columbus, Ohio. I was a state legislator and for 3 terms and used to lead demonstrations of 10 to 15,000 people to demonstrate against things in the system that was maintaining our detriment. They don't invite me to come and speak or implement a training program that will have long-range impact to eliminate what I call HIV, hood-infected virus, or AIDS, addiction and incarceration and death syndrome. No. I went to a church in Cleveland. I took my time, volunteered, went to a church in Cleveland, and when it was time for me to speak, they said, oh, I'm sorry, the Cavaliers might have come on. And the minister said, whoa, sorry, Mr. Brown. And they ran out of the church. Do you hear me? I never got to speak.
Wow.
I walked real slow, hoping that one will say, I said, God, just give me one. Just give me one. And most of them were ex-offenders. Have one stop me. And I walked slow toward my car, saying, touch one of them, Lord. Touch one that I could talk to. That's my assignment. Like Mr. Washington touched me. And by the time I got to my car, I was crying like a baby because not one stopped. Not one. The parking lot emptied. Following behind a minister who had a brand new car, collected from them. And there's an old saying, wherever you find yourself, at some point in time, you made an appointment to be there. And I believe that, and my advice to you and to the other platinum speakers from what I have learned, and there's a book called Change or Die, and his first scientific book and study done, if I had known what I know now, I would have used my time differently. And part of what they say is that 9 out of 10 people will rather die than change. Would rather die than change. Yes, and that's been proven. But here's what. Jesus said, whosoever will, let him come. Whosoever will, let him come. I walked slow. I didn't call anybody. I walked slow so that somebody who was willing to call me, to stop me and say, hey, mister, can I talk to you? As I did with Mr. Washington. Mr. Washington, I'm the one, sir. Look at me. My mother works in the cafeteria. They call me the dumb twin. You spoke to me. That changed my life. Sir, thank you. I'm the one, sir. I'm the one. And I was hoping that one of those young men would say, I'm the one. But it didn't happen then, but it happened later on someplace else. And so whosoever will, work with the willing. Work with the willing. Don't waste your time with people who are not ready yet. There's a book called The Kabbalion I read many years ago that says the lips of the wise are sealed to the ears of the ignorant. And so, and Scripture says, don't cast pearls before swines, lest they turn and rend you. Don't waste your time trying to talk to people of low consciousness, or they get angry at you because they can't hear you. They can't hear you. And so that's why whatever I can do to help you and Anita, because you're willing, and the other platinum speakers, you're willing to invest in yourself, to work in yourself, train yourself, you're willing to be coachable. Most people are not willing. They're not willing. We'll teach you how to become a member of the 2%ers. Only 2% of the world population ever earn over $1 million in their lifetime. I've done it 65 times. And now with what we have available and what I've been exposed today with Alicia and Lorette and a guy named Eben, you will do, it took me 3 years to do my first million. You'll be able to do it in a fraction of the time because of the tools that we have available. This is the greatest time in history. And for every African-American male that goes to college, 100 go to jail. Wow. And so last night, I couldn't sleep. I was just tossing back and forth. Can I go up in there? Can they hear me? Well, they say, go sit down, old man. Oh, 70-year-old man. Give him a cane. Give him a wheelchair. Go sit down. We don't want to hear that positive mess from you. That's why I was just tossing and turning, saying, God, do I still have it? Do I still have it? Can I create a listening? Do I still have it? And I heard a voice in myself